Hi, welcome to Community Focus Fireside Chat, and we have special guests today, Muncie Fire Department Chief Eddie Bell and Brent Granger, the Deputy Chief. Gentlemen, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for the invite.
We got a nice fire going. It's a little cool outside, but we're warm in here. So I want you to educate me. I've heard a lot of things about fire-based EMS, and I really, I've had people ask me, because they think I know, I guess, and I don't, but kind of educate us on that. Tell us about that, why that you feel that's beneficial for the city of Muncie.
Well, first of all, I guess I could say that state statute allows for the city manager, or the mayor in this case, to dictate who actually runs the ambulance service within the city. So what we're looking at basically is bringing that service into the fire department and providing fire-based EMS. In doing that, what we would do is we would bring in 6 ambulances to put in our 7 fire stations, basically. Right now, we provide first responder calls, and basically we're doing the job to an extent anyway, because we're going on all those runs with Delaware County EMS, and we're getting there, we're stabilizing the person, getting them packaged, and doing whatever we need to before Delaware County EMS gets there. When they get there, then we'll help them load them and put them into the ambulances. Right now, we're getting absolutely nothing for our fuel, our wear and tear on our vehicles, some of the supplies, and it's just a situation where we're already providing that service. We think that we can provide a better service by just running inside the city limits here, and we're going to put 6 ambulances in just the city of Muncie, as opposed to Delaware County putting 6 ambulances for the whole county. Now, just to let you know the difference, city of Muncie is 27.3 square miles. The county is 395 square miles. So that's a difference in service. What we do and where we are strategically placed throughout the city with our fire stations, we can be anywhere within the city with a fire truck within 2 to 4 minutes, and it would be the same with the ambulance. So again, we think that we can provide a better service for the citizens of Muncie, and I think it'll be a win-win.
Now, I know this much because of being around the fire department. Your fire stations are strategically located in the city, and you got a lot of train tracks.
Right.
So I assume that helps with the response.
It certainly does, and we're in a good situation. Whereas with those 7 fire stations, if we get a call and someone is behind a train and basically can't get through, then we can call on another station to continue that run. So one way or another, we'll get a truck there. And particularly when you talk about the number 6 station and number 3 station, number 6 station is located on Martin Luther King Boulevard. And if you've been along there, one train crossing, it can even start as early as Jackson, can go all the way out to Princeton past the mall, and you can be totally locked away from where you're trying to go. There's been several times that I've been on a fire truck and we've had a house fire in Whiteley or Morningside or some out there, and basically we've stood on the truck and looked over the train because we couldn't get there. We were lucky enough to open number 6 fire station back up when we come in, and now if we put an ambulance out there, it'll be much the same. We'll be able to provide that service for that area to make sure that they have an ambulance out there, and much the same on the southwest side of Muncie. The southwest side of Muncie gets the majority of the runs in the city, and if we were to put an ambulance at our Hoyt fire station, then once again, just like the North Station, what happens is from 12th Street at the Postal Center all the way around, you can be blocked off completely. And coming from downtown, you just can't get there. with the railroad tracks if a train's on the tracks. So this allows for an ambulance to be there and to provide a quick response from the number 3 fire station.
Well, I know from experience, seconds count. And people talk about minutes and everything, but when my dad was living with me, before he passed away, you know, he had a couple times we called. He couldn't breathe, had some problems, and you know, you're panicked. You think, and you know, we need an ambulance here quickly, and there's a train there.
Right.
And they just couldn't get there. I mean, I can't remember the time, but it was literally quite a few minutes.
Right.
And it just seemed like an eternity.
Absolutely.
So I understand that. So how do you propose then? You know, we talked about response, and that makes sense. But how does this come about? What do you need to do? Let's talk about money. Will the citizens of Muncie benefit from that? The billing, where the money goes? Tell me about that. I don't understand that.
Absolutely. Right now, Delaware County basically comes in and they provide all the ambulance service for the city and the county.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, all that money is taken out of here and it is used by the county in whatever way it would like to spend it. The way that we look at this is, you know, by the mayor being able to choose the particular ambulance service here in the city, why should that money be taken out and spent somewhere else? Why shouldn't it be spent here in the city of Muncie for things that the citizens of Muncie can use, whether it's parks, whether it's, you know, senior different things for seniors, and there's a lot of things that the county used that money for. The county has used it to put a roof on the county building, to put a roof on the jail, and several other things. Those are monies, if there's monies to be made, should be spent here within the city instead of, you know, instead of the county.
Now, if you done this, that money would go where?
It would go into the general fund. So the fiscal body of the city, which is a city council, would be able to spend that money in whatever
so
way.
Taxpayers in Muncie would benefit from that
Right,
money.
right.
Now, billing, I've heard debates on that. How does that work?
Okay, what we're looking at is we're going to put out requests for proposals, and basically one of the things would be a billing company that would do all the billing for the ambulance service. Basically, you try and look at a company that will operate off of a percentage of what they collect. That's usually the best way to do it, and we've been in contact with 4 or 5 just to see what we're looking at, so just to give us a good idea. Now, Delaware County has a collection rate of 56%, in their own words, basically. 56%, and collecting at just a Medicare rate of $536, that allows us basically to bring in $15,900 per month. Okay, right now, with the collection rate of 56% and using a Medicare collection of $536, basically that brings in $15,900 per month. Annually, that'll bring in about $190,000. Now, in my opinion, Roger, the money is purely secondary. If we could stay just dead even, it's the service that's provided to the citizens of Muncie that matters to us. The response time, being there, and being able to get their loved ones transported, that's what matters to me. But if there are monies that are left over, that are made, then yeah, I think they should be spent here in the city of Muncie instead of, you know, Delaware County.
So the billing is rated on, now you mentioned Medicare, there's people that's not insured,
Right.
There's people with, what do you call, corporate insurance or whatever. I mean, how does that work?
Okay. Basically, if you went to the committee meeting, you heard some of the people for Delaware County EMS throw out a figure of $166. $166 is what they said they get per transport. Well, what that is basically is that's probably a Medicaid rate with a 1 mile round trip. So that's the lowest. So what you need to do, you have not only Medicaid, you have Medicare, you have private insurance, and you have commercial insurance. So what you want to get a true figure on an average of what your transports are, you need to put all those together to come up with a blended rate. We done that, and we come up with $700.10 as a blended rate. And we actually done a survey of 2 paid professional fire departments and 3 transport agencies, and their average was $688. It was $12 from what we had said previously. Now, the commercial rate, if you work at somewhere like Ball State, if you work at Ball Memorial Hospital or IU, if you work for the city of Muncie, you have commercial insurance. They're basically stating that, you know, they're not collecting commercial insurance. They're not collecting, you know, private insurance. 30% of all collections in our area is commercial insurance. So we need to make sure that we put everything together and get a blended rate instead of the rate that they're giving us, $166. That's something that, you know, is not true. Now, I'll put it to you this way. We had a young lady get transport from City Hall to Ball, and basically their transport fee was $950, and there was a two mile travel fee on there, so that was $15 a mile. So $980 total. Okay, that's without any meds, that's without anything. So, you know, it just goes up from there. So you've got to understand that, you know, $166 is just not realistic. That's not even close. You want to make sure it's somewhere in the middle of, you know, the scope that you're collecting under.
So, okay, let's talk about logistics.
Yes.
Personnel, equipment. How's that work?
Okay. Again, we go back to the RFPs.
What are RFPs?
Request for proposals. And basically what happens there, it's you send out the information that you want your company to provide, and if they can provide that, then they send the information back to you. Now, we basically send out information to several personnel companies, and basically they tell us whether they can provide, you know, as many paramedics as we need. As far as the financing goes, we put down what we're wanting to borrow, and we're wanting to make sure that we don't pay that up front. That's paid within the first 2 years before, you know, any of that loan process would start. So we've been fortunate enough to talk to some of the banks, and there are banks out there that would loan us and defer those payments for the startup for 2.5 years. So we know that we can do that. As far as the personnel, the big thing with us is if there are people here in our community at Delaware County EMS that we can use, then, you know, of course we'll definitely take a look at them first before, you know, we would talk to this company. So hopefully if we need an extra, you know, 10 or 12 paramedics, maybe we can get them from Delaware County EMS or from the surrounding area, and you know, plug them in, you know, because those folks are from here. They have a good idea of, you know, how to operate within the area and everything. So we're definitely open to that.
So the difference is now, like your fire trucks have first responders.
Right.
So you would be moving to regular ambulances with advanced life support. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So can you explain how that works? I mean, a lot of people don't know the difference.
Right.
And I'm not sure I do. But
Okay. First, we will provide advanced and basic life support. So with the ambulance, we would have 6 ambulances, and in those ambulances, we will have 1 paramedic and 1 EMT. We're fortunate enough already to have 46 or 47 EMTs, so that won't be an issue. So basically, they will be set in the stations, and we'll use the fire trucks basically as backups. We'll start out with the ambulance. If they need help, whether it's a CPR or something of that sort, then we'll send the fire trucks also. But
or a driver, because I know sometimes don't they? Some of the guys kind of interchange and help drive.
We do right now with Delaware County EMS. We help a lot with lift assist, and if we're on scene and maybe our guys are doing CPR, maybe we'll just put them in the back of the truck and go on. Maybe we'll have to have one of our guys drive an ambulance out to the hospital. So we do that quite often too.
I see.
So
now, what about equipment?
Equipment is the same way. What we're going to purchase is brand new. It'll be 6 brand new ambulances along with the equipment that goes with it. We have state guidelines on what we have to have in those ambulances, which we will well exceed that to make sure that we are ready for anything and everything that comes about. We feel real good about you know, stepping in and taking right off. We really do.
So, in essence, then, if I understand this right, you'll have better response.
Mm-hmm.
The money will go into the city,
Right.
instead of into the county, which will benefit the city taxpayers, and it goes into general fund, right?
Right.
And you are getting more personnel and advanced life support and ambulances, each fire station, which is strategically placed.
Exactly. And overall, Roger, it's just a better bang for the buck for the citizens of Muncie. You know. Yeah, and it was said at the county basically that that the service that we are going to provide will be the same service that's provided now. It's really not. It's when we spoke earlier about the square miles. You know, Delaware County EMS right now is providing a service for the county, the entire county, as opposed to what we're going to take care of, and that's just the city of Muncie. So we can put the same amount of ambulances in 27.3 square miles as he can in this entire county, and we can provide a better service, a better response time, and a better bang for the buck for the citizens of Muncie. Now, I am absolutely happy with breaking even. If there are monies that are made that goes into the general fund, I think it should be spent here in the city of Muncie instead of Delaware County, my own personal opinion. I have nothing against the folks next door, Delaware County EMS. I've got a lot of friends over there, but this is just something that should have happened a long time ago, and it didn't for whatever reason. So we're wanting to look at it very, very seriously now, and I think this is the time to make that change.
Is it hard to keep help? You know, the paramedics and people like this.
Right.
You know, I know they're always looking for places to go, more money, this and that.
Right now they have a huge turnover and people leaving on a pretty regular basis. The supervisor over there basically in the November county council meeting stated that, you know, they were making approximately 62 runs per day.
Wow.
And he said, we're killing our guys. You know, it's too much. So that basically tells you if they're having problems, you know, maintaining and keeping up with the runs that they have, obviously they're overloaded. And if they're in the county, there's going to be voids in the city. So that's exactly why we want to step up to the plate, and we want to make sure that the citizens of Muncie aren't left out, aren't, you know, basically, you know, put on delay. We think that we can get in there, we can make things happen and do it in a timely fashion. Anywhere within the city within 2 to 4 minutes. And then if we're doing our own transports, that's even better.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly an interesting thing. Now, what's the plan now? The last time it was brought to the council, it was tabled. So how do you do?
Right.
What do you do?
And we've had a committee meeting on it, and what we're doing now is we're waiting on the RFPs. When we get the RFPs back, that will allow us to sit down and really realistically take a look and make sure that our numbers are spot on. That way we can go back to the council and say, yes, this is absolutely right. What we presented you with our model and our budget, we're absolutely right in what we said. We can get this done. We do have these people in place that can, you know, provide what we need to get there.
So you bring it off the table and they vote for it then?
Right.
I see. Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got your plan together anyway. So changing direction here, you was talking about response time and location to fire stations. You're going to open up Fire Station 1 again, I believe?
Right.
So tell us about that.
Fire Station 1, basically, we shut it down because the floor on the main floor was unstructurally sound and could not hold apparatus. We've had several structural engineers come in and tell us the same thing. So after talking with the architects, they thought it was best just to fill in the basement. So the basement's been filled in. The floor has been put in and everything. So now, right now, what we're doing is we're waiting to have the epoxy put on. As soon as that goes on, then it's another 10 days. And the date that we're shooting for is April 1st for the #1 fire station to open back up, and also the new training center to open up.
Now, you mentioned training center. You used to use Fire Station 1 as a training center,
right?
Correct?
That is correct.
So, and you had one of your rescue trucks there.
Right.
And a lot of gear, a lot of equipment. You had rescue boats there and scuba gear and all kinds of things. So now you're going to turn that back into Fire Station, which has to help the downtown people feel a little safer.
Exactly, especially the businesses downtown. You know, they know that if we have an engine actually in the building, then they're going to get a break on their insurance. So that's one of the things, you know, and for the downtown area period, you know, let's be honest, the build-up downtown has been huge over the last 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. All the things that have went in there, the hotels and everything that's been refurbed and everything. Downtown Walnut is coming alive, and we just need to make sure that, you know, we're able to maybe put a truck there in the near future. And
you have more residents up there in those apartments and things, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Good. So then all the training goes over to your new training center, which is right over on Jackson.
It's actually 404 Adams.
Adams. Okay.
Adams, yeah.
Adams, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a new facility that we just we've been working on for the last 5 or 6 months, and I'll let Deputy Chief Granger say a little bit about that.
Well, that'll open up Station 1. Station 1 has just been a storage area with a truck running out of it. We've had a small classroom for 34, 35 guys to train in. It's full of storage stuff that we can't get rid of. It's essential we keep it, but we just had nowhere to put it. Plus our weight room was in Station 1. Now we're going to move all of our props and all of our training classroom over to the new training facility. Our training officer will be over there as well. We'll store some boats, and that'll allow Station 1 to be a more livable station to open up as a regular firehouse. Getting all that equipment off the truck room floor will open it up to provide a better way for the guys to run out the front doors again, which hadn't happened in 10, 12 years now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the storage stuff that are for the training will be housed over there. We used to, I mean, Chief Bell has a really neat Christmas Pictures with Santa program that he does every year, and we would damage our equipment a lot of times, moving our weightlifting equipment to a particular corner, getting it out of the road because we had nowhere else to put it. Now with that being over there, that'll be a 24/7 workout center for active and retirees.
Now, when you mentioned Pictures with Santa, and I've been there Christmas Eve the last several years, that I've seen literally hundreds of kids, probably what, 500 or so.
We average somewhere between 500 and 600 a year.
Come in and get free pictures with Santa, which is one of your firefighters, and prizes and bicycle drawings and all that. I've seen a lot of happy kids leave there, so that's a real good program. And I give them more room to get in out of the cold.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen times it was decent out, and I've seen times it was bitter cold out. People were lining up out there well before Santa got there to be part of that program, so that's a good thing. Now, when you say training, a lot of people think that firefighters hang around, wait for that call to go to a fire. So tell people what all things you train on, because I know you do a lot more things, rescue things and that, than just go to fires.
Sure. Aside from cutting up cars, we'll be able to do trench rescue inside, be high angle rescue. We've got a 28-foot ceiling now that we can repel from, and train of that nature, just like pulling somebody out of a pit, basically. We've got our search and rescue props will be housed over there. Our dive team, of course, you know, that'll be intact. Yeah, we do quite a bit of training. A lot of people, like you say, think we sit around 24/7, but we actually train.
Well, and you know, I've seen some of the training, like swift water rescue and ice rescue, and you know, a lot of things. And recently, I was there when they done where the AEP, I call them pits, but they're facilities underground,
Sure.
under the streets, where all their stuff goes in case one of them was to get hurt. Your people have trained to go in there and know what's there and what's not to touch and what to touch and all that. So yeah, they do a lot of training for a lot of rescue. And fortunately, most people haven't had to experience that rescue, but the ones who have are very thankful you do that, I'm sure. So you got a good training facility. I'm glad to see Fire Station 1 come back up, because more fire stations better.
Absolutely.
More response time, and less response time, but better strategic locations. And downtown's been without that fire station for a little while now. So good for you. And I was at a scene just yesterday where the guys went to a trailer fire out north of town here, and got there quickly. Fortunately, nobody was in the trailer, but trailers go up like a matchbox, and they saved structures around it. I mean, the sheds and everything else didn't even really get scorched because they got there quick enough to put that fire down. So good for them. Good job. So, well, I appreciate you coming by and educating me on these things, and our viewing audience, I hope they get something out of that. But I learned a lot right now, because like I said, I didn't know much about it. People think I know everything, but I don't. That's pretty obvious. Well, thanks again, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And thank you for watching Community Focus. Community Focus would like to thank the following underwriters for their help and support with our productions. Put your business up for everyone to see. Hometown Outdoor Advertising, 288-9000. Wishbone Gifts Incorporated, corner of Walnut and Jackson Street in Muncie. McGalliard Guns and More, 800 West McGalliard, Muncie, Indiana, 765-288-GUNS. Parson Mortuary Incorporated, 801 West Adams Street, Muncie, Indiana, 765-747-1100. Muncie Sanitary District, serving Muncie since 1965, 300 North High Street, Muncie, Indiana, 765-747-4863. This show is produced by Millennium Productions Incorporated. Thanks for watching.